Welcome back, grade 8. We're really starting to get into algebra now. We are going to start by adding or subtracting like terms. So the important thing is we can only add and subtract like terms. I need to explain to you what they are. Like terms are terms with variables and exponents that are exactly the same. So let's have a look at some of our examples. So we're going to start off by identifying the like terms. So we said like terms are identified by their variables. So you've got to identify by the variable. What do we mean by that? Well, if we have a look at this first term, it's an xy term. This is an x squared. That's an xy. That's an x squared y. Now, there are only two terms here that have identical variables. And those two terms are the xy, 3xy, and 4xy. So it's the variables that make them like terms. X squared doesn't count, and this is x squared y, which is different to xy. Right, let's have a look at the next one. Simplify. So what we're going to do, you can only add and or subtract like terms. Remember when we started algebra, I said to you the very first thing that you do is you circle your terms. So we run our eye along until we get to the first plus sign. Everything in front of that is one term. We run our eye along until we get to the next plus sign, plus or minus. So that is one term. We run our eye along. That's a subtraction sign, so everything in front of that is one term. That is one term. So that expression has four terms. Right, but now we're going to advance a little bit. We're going to take one color, and this is the 2a term. So it belongs to the family of a's. I run my eye along, and I see another group of a's. So we have 2a and 3a. Those two are like terms. When I add in algebra, the family name or the term name is A. So I write down my variable and I add the coefficient. So 2 plus 3 is 5. 2a plus 3a is 5a. Let's see if we have any more like terms. That's a B term. This is a B term. Do you see that the variables are identical? So what I do is I write down the variable and I work with the numbers. So plus 3 minus 3 will give me 0b. And if I have 0 b's, I have nothing. So this simplifies to 5a. And I suggest you get your colors to work on this exercise, and in fact for the whole of algebra. Write down the like terms from the list of terms below. Okay, so we are going to circle like terms. I've got an A term, a B, so these two are identical because they are both A terms. The variable determines whether they are like terms or not. Let's look in the next one. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 little components in this list. So I always look at the first one. It's A4B cubed. There's no A4 here. There's an A4 there. And there's a B cubed. So A4B cubed, A4B cubed, those are like terms. This is an AB4, that, so those two are the only like terms there. Right, let's look at the next one. I've got an AB squared, that's A squared, that's B squared A. Right, in algebra we always write things in alphabetical order, so that should have been 3AB squared, which is identical to that. So these two are like terms. Let's have a look here. A squared B, A squared B. So these two are like terms. If we have a look at this one, we first have to simplify that. These are the same. So in actual fact, I've got negative 2mn plus 1. So there are no like terms there. Let's continue with the next lot. Right, simplify. Another word for simplify is add, subtract, evaluate. All of those mean simplify, where possible. Right, if we look at this one, I have an x term and a y term. They are not like terms, so you either rewrite the expression, 3x plus 3y, or you could say no like terms. If you just leave it without saying anything, then I will think that you're not quite understanding. Right, let's have a look here. We've got a 3ABC, a 2BAC. Remember what we've got to do? We've got to write it 2ABC. So now we've got 3ABC plus 2ABC minus 2CAB, alphabetical order, 2ABC. I would like you to write your B's in cursive, because sometimes when we write a B, we're not sure whether you've put a 6 or a B. Let's have a look. Do I have like terms? ABC, ABC, ABC. So what do? I write ABC down, and then I add the coefficients. I add the numbers. 3 plus 2 is 5. 5 minus 2 is 3 ABC. Right, let's look at the following one. I've got an x term, and I've got a negative 4x, and I've got another x term. So I'm dealing with the family of x's, or the x term. So I write down x, and now I work on the coefficients of those variables. So 5 minus 4 is 1. Remember invisible 1. 1 plus 1 is 2x. Let's have a look and see if the others. This is an x squared term. That's an x squared term. So I'm going to write down x squared. So I write down my variable and I apply the laws of integers. So all I'm doing, I'm saying plus 6 minus 4 will give me plus 2x. When we write expressions and they join together, I do have to put that plus sign in there, but I do not put this plus sign. It's only when two different terms are joined together. Let's look at the following one. I've got an x term. Do you see, I don't even look at the coefficients. I just look for something with an x in it. And remember, the sign belongs to the number that follows it. There's another x term. And remember, I have an invisible 1 there. So I've gathered all my x terms. I'm going to write down my x. And now I say 6 plus 4 is 10 minus 1 is 9. So 9x is my simplified version. Now I have a 2y and I have a negative 10y. So I'm going to write down my family name, which is y, and I'm going to say plus 2 minus 10. Remember, if you were on the number line, you are at positive, here's 0, You are positive 2 and you are going to minus 10, so you will be minus 8. Take another color. This is my Z term, and I have another Z term, so I write down the family name of Z. Minus 4 plus 2 is minus 2Z. It's a trinomial. It has 3 terms. Let's look at the next one. I've got an x squared y. Okay, so there's an x squared y. There's an x squared y. So I write down the surname, x squared y. And I'm going to say 3 minus 1 is 2x squared y. I now go and have a look. 4x squared minus 4x squared. So my family name is the x squareds. Now I say plus 4 minus 4 is 0. And if I've got 0 of anything, I don't have anything. So my answer to this simplification is 2x squared y. Will you please go and do the exercise on page 77, and it's exercise 6.3.